All right, let's get started in the chapter 5 and how to set up your homework. Hopefully you watched the videos, and if you need more support, I added more videos to the Google Classroom, so feel free to watch those or even research your own. So make sure you get it labeled at the top, 5.1, 1 through 29 odd, get your name, hour, and date on there. And then I wrote this as a reminder, check your answers, because it's the only way you're going to know if you're doing the work correctly. So it starts off with question number 1. So again, keeping over by that red line, keeping in the blue lines, that's why they're there. I use the blue lines as a way to add my fraction line. So make it like that. Don't try to squeeze it on one line. It's just too small. And you need to be able to see what you're doing. Remember the things that I taught you. One way is to make an L, to remember who is inside the division symbol and then who's on the outside. So your dividend and your divisor. So your divisor is your denominator and it's going into your numerator. Remember, keep it lined up and keep it organized so you don't make mistakes. So you have your decimal here. Remember, you're going to bring it straight up right there. And then you're going to say 5 goes into 3 0 times, but 5 can go into 30 6 times. And there you go. And that's your answer. And you're going to go ahead and go on to number 3 and continue on down that process for the first few all the way to 19. So let's skip on down to 19. That's your last one you're going to work on. Remember, last one you're going to work on like this. It's negative 18 and 2/3. So remember, when you're doing a problem like this, you could just drop down right here and write the negative 18 part right there. Just drop it down. You don't need to include it in the problem. You just need to work on the 2/3 part. So again, remembering it's 3 into 2, put your decimal in a 0, bring that decimal up. 3 goes into 2 0 times, but 3 can go into 20. 6 times, you got 3 times 6 is 18. You subtract, borrow, of course, and you have another 2, and you should notice right away it's repeating. So then you'll put your decimal, your 6, and remember your line over the top. Don't put more than 1 6. There's no reason to. So don't put 0.66 with a line over it. That doesn't make sense. You only need 1. And then you go into problem like number 21, where you're doing your inequality signs. So you have negative 13 halves being compared to negative 6 and 4/10. Remember what I said, you need to be able to get them in the same format. So either you're going to change this to a decimal or you're going to change this to a fraction. Whichever one you want to do. If I change this to a fraction, all I have to do is read it. It's negative 6 and 4/10, like that. So I can change this into an improper fraction and get negative 64/10 like that. And then remember how I said to compare two fractions? All you got to do is cross multiply to see which one is greater. Or you could simplify this, make it a little bit more into simplified form and look at it that way. Because if I simplified this, 2, I could divide top and bottom by 2, or remember I could do that cake method. I would have 5 in the denominator, and then 2 goes into 6 3 times, 2 goes into 4 twice. So it's negative 32/5. That's easier to work with. But then I could do my cross multiplying like this and do 5 times negative 13, which is negative 65, right? And then 2 times 32 right here, which is going to be negative 64. And then obviously negative 65 is less than negative 64. So your symbol is going to go that way. So it's a less than sign, because remember, it always points to the smaller value. And remember, they're negatives. So the further away from 0 it is, the smaller it is. And that's how you're going to do the rest of them. 27 and 28, you're going to put in order. You definitely want to get them in the same format before you do that. Another way you could have done 21 is you could have changed this into a decimal. 2 goes into 13. I can actually maybe do it for you. Off to the side. 2 goes into 13, like that, remember? Make an L, turn and divide. Goes into 13 6 times with a remainder of 1. Put a decimal up, bring a 0 down. 2 into 10 is 5. So see, I could have done it that way as well. And I could have seen that this is equivalent to negative 6 and 5/10 and negative 6 and 4/10. And again, this one would have been smaller. So you're either going to change it into both fractions, both decimals, or you could change them into both percentage if you prefer. So good luck on 5.1. Hopefully you watched all the videos, got good detail, and understand how to do this correctly. Make sure you check your answers.